Last bit of international cricket for India before the IPL. Last bit of international cricket for this home season. A 3-match ODI series against South Africa beckons. Let's look ahead to the 5 things to watch out for from this game on ESPNcricinfo Matchday with Sanjay Manjrekar. Sanjay Manjrekar with me. Let's go to point number 5 straight away. And Quinton de Kock is going to be key for South Africa. It's a new era of South African cricket that they've bestowed Quinton de Kock with the responsibility to lead with. And his record against India in ODI cricket is excellent. We've known that for a while now. It does look like captaincy hasn't been much of a burden from him with recent results, Sanjay. And recent results tend to suggest that South Africa are the more informed team. Yes, India in India. But looking at what happened in New Zealand, interesting that they meet a South African side that would be high on confidence.
It's very interesting when you look at teams playing in different conditions. Now, South Africa beat Australia at home. But when they come to India, India will be at home. So India lost to New Zealand in New Zealand's home. So this is the reality of today's cricket, is that teams are completely, it's like chalk and cheese when they're playing home and away. So India should dominate, and the bowling attack of South Africa, I think, is not really as strong as their batting looks.
And had that having been said, it was a good South African batting display by a young bunch against a almost full-strength Australian bowling attack. Quinton de Kock has always been key for them, and nearly 800 runs for Quinton de Kock in 13 innings, average of over 60. It's fair to say that still a huge responsibility on de Kock, even though the likes of Faf du Plessis will be back for this series.
See, look at the last series against Australia. They won it 3-0, whitewash. But Quinton de Kock didn't get the runs. So that is great for South Africa. For a long time, they have relied on just a couple of guys to get runs and, a bonus sort of contribution from some of the other players. The guys who came out getting the runs, Hendrik Klaasen is one example. Then they also had a guy who I wish does well in India, so I can say his name again and again, Janeman. He got
Janeman Malan,
Yeah, so I just hope he does well.
Just so that you can say his name.
Yes.
Very well.
Janeman. So, So all these unlikely heroes came out of the scene, which is great. And David Miller is back in form. So their batting looks okay and not completely reliant on somebody like a Faf du Plessis or a Quinton de Kock.
All right, now let's focus on the venue. Dharamsala hasn't seen international cricket for a while now. It was against South Africa that the home season was supposed to start at Dharamsala, but for a washout in that first T20. The weather isn't great even for this first ODI. Let's hope the forecast is proven wrong. But if you look at venue stats for the HPCA Stadium, the average first inning score is 215, but small sample size. Teams chasing have won 3 out of 4. India have won 2 and lost 2. It's not the best of records if you look at India's record elsewhere, but keep an eye out for a shortened game as well with the weather around in Dharamshala. Moving to point number 3, and this is perhaps the point that we're all looking forward to. Bhuvneshwar Kumar returns from injury, and Jasprit Bumrah resumes ODI cricket after not having taken a single wicket in the 3-match ODI series against New Zealand. Now, let's look at what we can look forward to. Bhuvi and Bumrah, with a Bumrah you can say is out of form, and a Bhuvi who's returning from injury.
Actually, Akash Chopra made a very good point, because we almost put Bumrah as the great bowler of this, current international cricket. He's been a potentially great bowler. So now it's the first time that we've seen him really affected by injury, a long injury layoff. And we've seen also the form dip a little bit. Now he's got to bounce back and become the Bumrah of a couple of years back, and then he's crossed that one important hurdle that great cricketers do. They have long careers and they overcome these kind of hurdles. So we'll see how that goes. Bhuvneshwar Kumar, whether swing is back is going to be crucial for me. Not so much how quickly he's bowling, but whether he can swing the ball.
All right, keep an eye out for how Bhuvi and Bumrah go together back in tandem for this series. If they are to look at someone who's managed to come back from injury strongly, look no further than Lungi Ngidi in the South African pace attack. So we look at Ngidi's numbers off late. He has returned from a hamstring injury and no problem with wickets for him. Picked up a career best 6 for 58 in the recent whitewash over Australia, and is looking at his record in 2020, 12 wickets in 4 games. So Lungi Ngidi will lead this pace attack in the absence of Kagiso Rabada. And we look at Lungi Ngidi phase-wise, and he picks up wickets at the start, 19 wickets in 96 overs in the first 10 at an average of 27. And in the last 10, the average gets even better. So very good at the start, very good, even better at the end. Finally, let's look at what India's team is likely to be. The return of Hardik Pandya will headline this conversation because it tends to dictate what sort of team India picks. Sanjay, let's have a look at your team and who you've gone for now that India are nearly back to full strength without Rohit Sharma.
Right. Let's have a look at it. I'm a little concerned about what happened in New Zealand, where I thought they batted well enough, but just couldn't get enough wickets or keep the opposition under what they've got. So I've looked to address the bowling aspect. And nice to have Hardik Pandya because you have the batsman, plus you have a bowler who's likely to bowl 10, but on a bad day you get 6 out of him, and then you can use Jadeja for 4-5 overs and not 10, which is what I really want. I want Kuldeep back, Chahal back, so I've strengthened the bowling attack. And when you look at the batting, it's not really suffered. You've got Rahul, tremendous form currently, got 100 at number 5 when India was 3 down for 60 or something, which is tremendous. And then you've got Hardik Pandya, Jadeja, good enough players, and then you get into the bowling. So I think this is something that addresses India's issue in New Zealand, which is more about not getting wickets. And I've got wicket takers now back in with Bumrah's wicket taking ability, strangely going down. You need somebody like a Kuldeep Yadav back in.
And you endorse the idea of KL Rahul, the wicketkeeper, ahead of Rishabh Pant now, even
tough call because Rishabh Pant for me now is an enigma. You know, I've had various views on Rishabh Pant over the years. At the moment, I'm sort of clueless. So I'm going to look at Rishabh Pant and just look at his scores and then judge, you know, what kind of a player he is.
Let's pick up this conversation after the first ODI. Let's hope we get a game. Sanjay Manjrekar will be back to look back at that game as well as look ahead to the rest of this series on ESPN Cricinfo Matchday.